fly me back in time so we can play among the stars. Come and see what war was like before the coming of Sigmar. In other words, here they are. In other words, that old world charm.
Good day, our lovely denizens of the old world. Merry and happy freaking holiday season to you all. No matter what you celebrate, no matter what you do with this little time at the end of the year, we hope that you enjoy it, get some hobby done, and welcome to episode 35 of said show. That being that old world charm. I didn't say it already.
Old charm.
Old charm.
Oldie charm.
Getting charmed by these old ones. It's us.
I'm not no lizard man or a frog, Adam. Don't tell me what I am.
Yeah, we are the deep state reptile people of the old world. Anyway, thank you for joining us because we can finally review the brand new shiny Arcane Journal for the Empire of Man. And as you have heard already, we are joined by the full triumvirate for this beautiful holiday episode. This may or may not be our last episode of the year. We'll see if we get another time to do another episode before New Year's comes around. But of course, we are busy with families and such. But we're very grateful we got to give you this one. Despite this book being spoiled about a week ago, where you could have grabbed this content early, we are shackled by NDAs, which we respect and adore. We're very happy to be on them. We don't want to mess around with them. So we had to wait for the official release before we did this. But because of that, because we waited, we have quite a few games with this under our belts. I've played into this list twice, and then into various lists in this twice, and then Peter's been an absolute magnate. He's got about 5 or 6 games with this Arcane Journal.
Oh, more than that now, yeah. But yes, I've definitely been putting it through its paces.
Freak with a microphone over here. And Danny is just seeing this thing for the very first time. So we actually have a really good panel here of expertise on this Arcane Journal, with me having a couple of games as the opponent, Peter having a fair few games as wielding it, and then Danny seeing it fresh-faced and getting the initial impressions right off the
I
bat.
avoided the spoilers when this was spoiled by some other people. And so this is all brand new to me.
Fantastic. So we got the full spread of takes. Yeah. And it is going to open. And as always, guys, you know how we do this. If you've been following us for any period of time, this is going to be the highest level of 3 guys read book and give you the hotness and everything therein.
The absolute highest.
Yes. Many of us may or may not have had an edible already. And of course, if you want the part 2 of this, come over and join us over at That Old World Charm over on Patreon, where you can get a full minimum 45-minute other episode, which is going to be writing lists for this Arcane Journal, talking about the games that we've played with it, where it's good, where it's bad, where it shines, and answering some patron questions. But first up, hot takes. Hitting it over to Peter. What are your hot takes on this Arcane Journal, and how do you feel about it?
It's a friggin' roller coaster, man. There's a lot of highs. There's a lot of lows. It's probably not good, but
it's better than what I had before.
But it's got some good stuff in it. This is a stat check book to destroy all other stat check books, in my opinion. I'm pretty excited to see what people do with it.
I agree with that take. Danny, having your limited experience with this book, what are your hot takes?
Well, I was looking through some of the magic items, and some of them seem a little spicy, so I like that. That's probably my favorite part of what I've read so far.
Yeah, nice. I do. I really rate the magic items in this book. I think they are over and above. Over and above.
I think there's 4 or 5 real good ones, and then some okay ones, and then a few that look good, and then they do the Empire thing, like we talked about in our last episode, where they're like, the Empire's probably too good, so let's make this bad by adding that one extra word to the item.
Yep. Anyway, we have 2 armies of infamy for you. The first of which is the Empire State of Nuln. And if anybody's joining along at home, reading along, this will be page 28. This is the Free State of Nuln army list composition. And seeing as you've wielded this many a time, Peter, give us the TLDR. What did we read here? What's the spice?
Okay, so Empire City-State of Nuln. This is your Shooty McShooterson list. It is pretty heavily restricted in terms of what you're allowed to bring. You can't take any Inner Circle Knights. You can't take any Demigryphs. You can't take Chapter Masters or Grand Masters. And particularly, you cannot take any Wizard Lords.
Wizards.
Yeah.
Huge. I don't really understand why that restriction's there. Are there just are they like the anti-wizard, city-state? Nuln, I didn't know that about their fluff, if it was.
They aren't. They were a Demigryph city-state, though. So the fact that they took Demigryphs out surprises me more than the Wizards. Wizard Lords is 100% a balance thing. Because I think if they had access to level 4s, this list would be cracked. But because they don't, it's very binary and okay.
Yeah, so reading down here, you of course 0 to 1 general or archlector per 1,000 points, and you go captains, master mages, so you can have level 2s. Witch hunters, priests, and engineers. 0 to 1 war altars. 25% of your army must be spent on at least one unit of regiment Nuln state troops or veteran state troops. 0 to 1 units of outriders per 1,000 points. You're going to do that. And free company militia and empire archers. 50% of your army can be spent on great swords, pistoliers, outriders, empire knights, and war freaking wagons, which I'm very excited to unpack. And 0 to 3 war machines listed from great cannons and mortars. And then you would have the same, 1 per 1,000 points of Hellblasters, Hellstorms, and steam tanks.
Not true.
Rare. Sorry?
Oh, you get to take 2 per 1,000 points of volley guns and rockets. And then they actually added the new Empire Road Wardens to rare, which is a unit that at first I wasn't sure was good enough. Like, it's got great rules, and we'll go over it later. But it's very expensive. And I've turned around to thinking that, yes, they're fine. They're good. So. Yep,
25% can be spent on mercs, and those mercs can be Imperial Ogres or Imperial Dwarfs, and 0 to 2 Doomseekers per 1,000 points. That last line is the spice. Once we get to unpacking what these lists look like, especially in part 2, I think the Doomseekers is going to be a lot of the talking point. The fact you can take 4 in your 2,000 point list is kind of spicy. What's up, Danny?
That's so many.
I know. It's fantastic.
You can take 4, but you can't protect them.
No.
Because when we get into what a Nuln state troop is, I feel like they were writing and then forgot why you would want to ever take them. So then they were just like, let's just make them take them.
Yes.
Because we wrote all these rules. Let's force them.
We wrote 18 lines of rules that do nothing other than force you to take them.
All right. But jumping into the special rules, Danny, tell us about this first one.
So this starts with big guns, no fear, which seems like maybe they just read the 40, like someone just glanced at the 40K rules and was like, oh yeah, this sounds like a 40K thing, and we'll just mix it up enough so that it's fantasy instead. Empire Engineers in the City-State of Nuln Army, at any unit they've joined, gained immune to psychology while there's a friendly war machine within their command range.
Actually a downgrade. Actually a downgrade. You can't flee. So
I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind my war machines not being able to flee.
That's true.
Them having immune to psych is pretty good. The engineers, I wish they didn't. I wish they could sometimes.
Well, the engineers don't get it. Or the engineer gets it, but the war machines don't.
War machine doesn't get it. Yeah, war machine doesn't get
it. What? Oh, well, then never mind.
It's to me.
I read it the other way. Never mind.
Yeah, don't join your engineers to the screen unit. Don't do it. Your 5 archers or little unit of missile troops. Just don't join an engineer to it. Is what I read there.
Yeah.
Peter, you're up next. Entrenched positions.
Entrenched positions. This is something we saw with the dwarf detachment as well. During deployment, you may entrench a single non-character model whose troop type is war machine for each engineer in your army. An entrenched war machine is considered to be behind partial cover and defending a low linear obstacle. Should it move, it loses these abilities. It's a neat little extra thing to have. Gives you some cover from some shooting, not from magic, unfortunately, but that's okay.
Yeah, not a bad rule either.
Yeah.
Gun Limbers is up next. 0 to 1 war machines per 1,000 points chosen from the following list may be given the Vanguard and Veteran special rule. 5 points for a Great Cannon or a Mortar, 15 points for a Hellblaster Bolter Gun, 10 points for a Hellstorm Rocket Battery. This is a great way to get your Hellblaster killed turn 1. But it is hilarious and memey as hell. And Peter, have you found any reason to do this? And if you did, what would you do?
So I don't really I feel like this rule was something else at some point, and then Games Workshop was like, Empire is too strong, so we're gonna let them take Veteran on their War Machines, which we already have as an option. Correct. For 10 points per War Machine, I believe. But instead, you can pay less points or more points to get an ability you'll never use in Vanguard. The only time I would ever consider it is if you are if you're playing on a map where you're going to be playing with a forest or something that's just 2 inches in front of your deployment zone, and you want to move your cannon, or not your cannon, your Hellblaster into it, assuming you're going to go first, so that you can rattle off all your shots turn 1.
I think I have a very specific build in mind. Where I think I can make this something of value. I think this is you're in for a dime, in for a dozen. You're doing this twice if you're doing it at all, and you're just trying to blitz a flank, just 2 Hellblasters, and with something that's coming up later that gives you a little insurance to allow you to go first or second should you wish. I think there is a way that I think you can double Vanguard 2 Hellblasters. You're paying 30 extra points on top of them being pretty pricey, and then you have to have an engineer to essentially march up behind them in order to turn 1 get them into range so they don't blow themselves up. But I do think there is a build there. It's very cute. Probably works 1/3 of the time, but it's not, in my mind, it's not the worst thing ever.
Yeah, it's fine.
Really, you guys? I think this is good.
I think it's good if you specifically build into it hard. Just taking a Hellblaster and giving it 15 points so it shoots turn 1 and then dies turn 1 doesn't seem like the best use of the thing, because once you Vanguard it up, it becomes so much harder to protect.
And you guys are thinking of it linear, this is for counter deployment, not necessarily for for pushing it up so it's in range on the first turn. This, if you have this, you could kind of put your War Machine kind of just outside of line of sight of a woods or something like that, especially if you're you're expecting to get that stuff, and then I'm getting first turn. Cool. I'm gonna push it into the woods. Now I can see through it. I'm gonna blast you with it.
Well, Vanguard happens before you know who goes first.
Oh, sure. Okay. Right? So. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But you could fake out deployment a little bit.
I guess
that's a good point. That's a good point.
If Vanguard happened after the roll off, it would be amazing.
You're right.
But it would be much better. I would say yes, it would be much better. I don't see I don't feel like you take this on the Great Cannon unless you really want the Veteran, because for 5 points it's cheaper than the 10-point upgrade in the book. Same with the Mortar, which you're never running. And if you take this on a Hellstorm Rocket Battery, I want you to cancel your subscription. Yes.
I'm going to give you 10 points back into your army list. I don't care if your army list is 10 points over if you buy this.
I was already going to let you play the Rocket Battery for free. So if you want to pay the extra, I'll give you the upgrade as well.
Yeah. If you take the Pigeon Bomb Battery as well, you definitely. Hey, that's what we call callback. Hey, we're good at this. Hey. All right, Danny, you've got Handgun Drill. And then
Handgun Drill
with the absolute paragraph that is to come after.
The expert handgunners of Nuln practice firing in multiple ranks. Once per game, once per game, each detachment of state missile troops in a city-state of Nuln army can fire with 1 additional rank.
What a waste of words.
Jesus Christ. That is so limiting.
Somebody got hurt real bad by Empire on the SDS team. It's real bad. And they were we can never let them shoot more than 5 guns a turn.
What I love about the italic text there is that they're insinuating that all the other handgunners in all the other city-states just don't know how to kneel. These knees that I have, what do they do? I don't know. It's trash. Peter, tell us about all the goodness in the state troops.
Yes, Nuln state troops. So Nuln state troops, we've mentioned, are a 1+ unit in city-state of Nuln. You have to take one of these, and it's very specific. So regiments of Nuln state troops and veteran state troops are made as follows, using the profile for state troops and veteran state troops. They don't get any buffs or anything. The only buff they have is handgun drill. So a regiment of Nuln state troops consists of one regimental unit of either state troops or veteran state troops, and 1 to 2 detachments of either state missile troops or swordsmen. A regiment of Nuln veteran troops consists of like the veteran version is the exact same. It's just you get veterans instead of regular. Each unit of state troops or veteran state troops must be equipped with halberds. You can't take anything else. And if you're using the missile troops instead of the swordsmen, you have to take handguns. You cannot take crossbows. And then for swordsmen, they explicitly state swordsmen are just state troops with a hand weapon and shield. You can't give them anything else. Unlike regular detachments, here's your other buff you get for Nuln. Your detachments and your regiments can both take sergeants. You don't normally a detachment cannot have a sergeant in it. You do get that.
It's free.
And that's it. And it's free. You don't pay the 5 points. The 5 points for the sergeant upgrade.
Yeah. But the way I read this, and forgive me if I'm wrong, this is just going to be one of those questions people are going to ask. You have to take, if you take a regimental unit of state troops, you have to take the detachment. You have to take a detachment with them, yeah?
You have to take at least one.
At least one. Yeah. So you're costed into the 1+ regiment of Nuln state troops or veteran state troops, which is in the Army of Infamy, you have to take. And then you're priced into having to take a detachment for that unit. So this is your
tax on your army.
Yeah, this is your core tax. Because of course you're going to be taking 2 units of Outriders because of this next rule. Veteran Outriders, this is the whole shebang. This is the whole archetype in like one sentence. Ignore everything else we just read. Missile weapons wielded by Outriders included in the steady states of Nuln army are not subject to the ponderous, which is the -2 if should you move to shoot with the Outriders guns. So they are just like, we are -1 if we're at long range. It's so good. And this is the whole like archetype just described right there. You want to min-max as many Outriders as you feel like you need to for your meta, whilst also not being that guy, which Peter was to me various times. Peter, though, you've played with this many a time. Is this busted?
It's not busted. Outriders do have other limitations, and there are other combos you can do in this book to make them even stronger. But it is like, my problem with this detachment is this is the only thing in it worth building around.
Correct.
And it's unfortunate because it's a very strong ability. All the other abilities are useless nonsense garbage. They are like
comparatively
anything, right? It's like I get 5 to 10 free points if I take my Nuln detachment. Once per game, I get 5 extra shots if I took extra handgunners, which I probably didn't. And my volley guns can vanguard. That's like, it is unlike so many of the other Arcane Journals we've seen that have had these really cool buffs if you take trolls or if you take miners or like regular goblins or marauders that kind of really changed how you played but felt fun and gave you a reason to do a whole lot of extra things with your list and change it up. This one's just like, hey, how about you take Outriders?
Correct. It's like they told you what to take, explicitly told you what to take.
And it's
a little frustrating.
Like I honestly wish Veteran Outriders was less strong so that they could have made other stuff stronger. Like handgun drill, there's no reason why this is once per game. This should just be like every turn.
It's definitely not busted to get 5 more shots
and
with your handguns.
Not limited to only detachments.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. For sure. Like I would have loved if Veteran Outriders was like
-1 instead of -2. Yeah, it was my first gut instinct. -1 instead of -2 on Ponderous.
Well, it is. It's still they are still -1 because Ponderous, like you still you don't get.
Oh, true. Ponderous is just an extra -1 if you move. You're correct.
So, but what like I would have liked it only like you had to pay points for it. Like you pay 1 extra point or 2 extra points to lose Ponderous. Or
well, ironic
ones
that you say
core,
that.
You get it right.
Yeah. It's so ironic that you say you should pay points for this, because in another army of infamy we're about to say, you pay through the freaking nose for the things you're already. Yeah. Anyway.
But anyway, it feels bad. I think that's my problem with it is like Outriders are very good in this detachment. Your war machines are still fine. Like you still need to find a balance in your list to make this list work. But Outriders become infinitely better.
All right.
And it's the only thing.
Moving on to the Knightly Orders Army of Infamy. The composition list here is up to 50% can be spent on 0 to 1 Grandmaster. So you can have 1 Grandmaster per 2K. What has to have at least 1 Chapter Master, so 1+ Chapter Masters. 0 to 1 Lector or High Priest of Ulrich per 1,000 points. Witch Hunters, Priest of Sigmar, Priest of Ulrich at your leisure. And 0 to 1 War Altars, and can be taken for a mount, of course. 25% must be spent on 0 to 1 units of Inner Circle Knights. Can be taken as a core choice, which I quite like. 1 unit you have to have a unit of knights. 1 unit per 1,000 points. That's 2 units of Empire Knights at 1,000 points, 2,000 points, which annoys me because the first instinct I have is like, holy crap, I will just fill up my entire core with 1 massive, like actually big enough to be relevant unit of Inner Circle Knights. But no, you can't. Then Empire Archers as well. Special is just Inner Circle Knights and Demigryphs, and then 0 to 1 state troops or state missile troops per 1,000 points, and then 25% of your army can be spent on Pistoliers. So nice. In the rare choice. This is so compressed. Once again, no wizards, 0 wizards, not even level 2s. Yeah. This is one of the most restricted army lists we have seen in the game so far.
It's the army without rare choices, Adam.
Correct.
Like, you're never going to spend 25% or even 1% on Pistoliers.
Yep. Now, that said, they do this because like the Empire of Man Knightly Orders, they're doing like a Space Marine thing with it. Each of the the Knightly Orders are split up into 5 different Knightly Orders that you can choose from, and each one changes your army composition list by adding extra stuff or removing stuff in some cases that you can take to kind of flesh it out more,
now,
which is interesting.
My hot take on the Knightly Orders, I've tried to build quite a few lists with the Knightly Orders, and the number of terms and conditions, as I would say, the T's and C's of building a Knightly Orders army is the most laden of any army that I've seen in the game so far. There are more restrictions here. There are more hoops you have to jump through. And then once you jump through them, you have to pay points for the things you jump through to get that. The construction of this army of infamy really, really annoys me. It is a lot of work to try and make this work. And that bothers me a lot. Any other hot takes there, boys?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Adam, in a lot of ways. It's kind of disappointing, I would say.
They use so much more of the stick than the carrot is my impression of this book.
And like I like being restricted, right? Don't get me wrong.
Too.
I like that. I like being like kind of like limited in what I can do and kind of that stuff. But like this seems like maybe it was. Yeah, you're right. Too much stick, not enough carrot.
I have so many more analogies for it. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze. I could go on forever.
Now, anyway. That all said, a couple of these Knightly Orders, like when we get into the restrictions and their special rules, are legit. And I think like at least 1, if not 2 of them are extremely frustratingly competitive.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing this little bit of the review differently because in G-Dub's grand vision for whatever they wanted this book to do, you have Knightly Orders special rules, which is essentially just a list of restrictions, not special rules. And then you go through the unit entries for this Arcane Journal, and then you actually get to the Knightly Orders of the Empire for how many points
actual special rules
and the actual special rules. So we're going to do the restrictions, then jump to the points for each of these respective orders, and then to the actual things you get for being in these orders. Because if we just read this out to you right now as like this is what you get for being these different orders, you might just turn off. You might just be like,
"I want to play this."
Wow, please no. Can I go elsewhere? But Danny, give us the first of the Knightly Orders. Actually, you might want to read the blurb.
Oh, okay. Sure. So it's To represent having different knightly orders, you may choose one of the following knightly orders to include in your Empire Man army: 0 to 1 Grandmaster or Chapter Master, and 0 to 1 unit of Empire Knights, Inner Circle Knights, or Demigryph Knights in your army may be upgraded to your chosen knightly order. Note that if you're using this, if you're using the knightly order Army of Infamy composition list, the 0 to 1 doesn't apply. Instead, every unit that can belong to a knightly order must belong to the same knightly order as the army's general.
Yeah. So
do you mean the restrictions we have in the army, or are we talking rules?
Yeah, we're going back to page 33.
Good.
I
Okay,
was
cool.
talking the knightly orders.
Sorry about that.
Rules. Yeah. So the general of the knightly orders Army of Infantry must be a Grand Master or Chapter Master who must belong to one of the knightly orders. There's a screen at page 44. Every other Chapter Master and every other unit Empire Knights. Yeah, that's what you just read. Beautiful. Knights Panther. An army of the Knights Panther may include 0 to 1 units of Empire Knights or Inner Circle Knights belonging to the Order of the White Wolf as a mercenary choice. This unit is not subject to the misbehaving mercenaries rule. Okay. I could just do all these. Let's just do all these. Knights of the White Wolf. An army of the Emperor Knights Wolf may include a number of units of tutelage and guard as special choices, and 0 to 1 units of Free Company militia as a core choice per 1,000 points. However, your army cannot include any lectors or priests of Sigmar or witch hunters.
Hot.
Right. Blazing Sun. An Empire of the Blazing Sun's army may include 0 to 2 Master Mages, yay, as characters per 1,000 points, and 0 to 1 Great Cannons or Mortars as special choices per 1,000 points. However, you can't include any Lectors of Sigmar or High Priests of Ulrich. Knights of Mor. An army of the Knights of Mor may include Wizard Lords, yay, and Master Mages as character choices. However, your army cannot include any Lectors, Priests, High Priests, or any of the priests. And then lastly, Knights of the Fiery Heart. An army of the Knights of Fiery Heart may include any number of units of Flagellants as rare choices. However, your army cannot include any High Priests or priests of any description.
No,
so,
they cannot do Ulrich. It's Fiery Heart is all about Sigmar.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So can't do any of the others.
So those were the special rules, guys.
Yeah. So those are your extra restrictions. Looking at these, there's some cool stuff. Like White Wolf getting access to these new tutelage and guard is pretty neat.
And they are pretty neat.
And Blazing Sun, it kind of gives you this more rounded list by giving you access to war machines. They're the only ones that'll take them, even though you can only get 2. Knights of Mor, at least right now, really looking strong. But just the fact you can take your Wizard Lords.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
We're going to lose all those priests to do it.
It's fine. It's fine. A wizard is better than a priest. Every single time. Yeah. Every single time. A priest has a one chance to get off one essentially spell at a 60-something% clip, whereas a wizard lord has 4 chances to cast 4 spells. This is just not the same. They can't be compared. Yeah. All right, so we are jumping from there to page 44, where the points for said orders of the Empire reside. Danny, give us the full TLDR on this.
Yeah, okay, cool. So characters cost different points than units. A character, a Grandmaster or Chapter Master can belong to one of the following knightly orders: Panther plus 10 points, White Wolf plus 15 points, Blazing Sun plus 10 points, Knight of Mor plus 15 points, Fiery Heart plus 15 points. Or the unit, Knights Panther is 2 points, White Wolf is 3, Blazing Sun is 2, Knight of Mor is 3, and Fiery Heart is 3. And those are points per model. And so then these give you access to special rules, which further kind of change how the knightly order works here.
And these are extra points for the units. It's for your Empire Knights, your Demigryphs, and your Inner Circle Knights.
Yes, thank you.
Each one of those guys. And what Danny kind of read the other part of this earlier, but just to fall back on it, you can also include your knightly orders in a Grand Army, but you get to only pick up to 1 character and 1 unit to get these buffs, and you pay the points for it to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes it a little messy, and like I said, your head just kind of gets reeling a little bit with the restrictions and whatnot. So I can't wait for my new recruit to be updated, so I can just click on the knightly order that I want. And,
it's already updated, sir.
Well done to them, because it
got leaked.
We got this book almost a month ago, about a month ago actually, and that was when I was trying to write lists and got very overwhelmed.
I believe it, man.
All right. Order of the Knights Panther. Models belonging to the Order of Knights Panther must be armed with lances. Note that models able to purchase a magic weapon may still do so. They may reroll a single dice roll of a natural 1 when making a charge roll before discarding any dice that required to be discarded. So for your Swift Stride. And then they gain Hatred, Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen, Brayherds, and Demonic Models special rule. In addition, Grand Masters and Chapter Masters of Inner Circle Knights belonging to the Order of Knight Panther gain the Magic Resist 1 ability. How do we feel about the Knights Panther, Peter?
It's fine. The problem is the restrictions. The fact that you can't really take anything cool with these guys. You're kind of locked into just knights or priests, and then you get that one unit of White Wolf guys, which are awesome. It's kind of meh. Rerolling ones on the charge, like if you've played Heralds or Bertonia, it comes up occasionally. This is a worse version because you can only choose one of the die. To re-roll.
So you roll triple ones, suck it. Too bad.
So only get to re-roll one of them. But that said, Hatred of all the chaos stuff is pretty strong. Those are that's like 3 armies that you're going to go up against.
So Hatred is a great rule. Yeah. And all of these, every single one of these, I think, bar 1 has Hatred something. Right.
Yes, I believe. I think 2 of them don't.
Two of them don't. Actually, 2 don't. Yeah. All right, give us the next one, Danny.
So, Order of the White Wolf. Models belonging to the Order of the White Wolf must be equipped with either great weapons or halberds, which they may replace with wolf hammers for free, which is a great option. As always, wolf hammers are better than any standard counterpart. Note that models may purchase magic weapons, may do so as normal. They get Furious Charge. In addition, Grandmaster, Chapter Masters, or other or unit of Inner Circle Knights belonging to Order of the White Wolf have a 5+ ward save against attacks that are caused by an attack that is the Flaming Attack special rule.
So that bit is less good. In fact, you can almost delete that from your collective conscious until Flaming becomes good. That is not good. The rest of this is good. Yeah. Furious Charge and the Wolf Hammers. Wolf Hammers are legit. We might as well tell you about them now. They're +1 strength, AP 2, strikes last, cries 2 hands. Actually, are they strikes last?
They are not strikes last.
They're not
That's
strikes
the best
last.
part.
They get +2 strength rather than +1 on the charge. So they are not strikes last great weapons on the charge. And when they're not on the charge, they're still +1 strength, AP 2. They are very, very good, especially when you get them for free.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, and you're starting on a lot of these models at strength 4 anyway, so
correct.
Moving to strength 5, strength 6 is a great point.
Well, we talked about it last week. Empire has a real problem reaching the strength 6 breakpoints. They just don't get to do it en masse without taking very pricey models. And so this is just a fantastic way to almost reach those breakpoints like at will on a better weapon than you would have had previously. Because like we know, Lancers, if you don't get the charge, virtually useless. These things will still be popping at AP2 regardless. And Furious Charge on top. Oh yeah, I really want to design a list around Order of the White Wolf that is just MSU Knights with hammers, and I think it'll be sick. Yeah,
this particularly in Grand Army, where you can just
correct.
It's the main problem I have found with Empire and trying to make them work is you're very anemic in your attacks, other than Demigryphs, and even they are kind of anemic compared to other things their point cost. So getting Furious Charge all of a sudden, doubling the attacks on all these dudes. But taking your core Empire Knights, which are almost good, and giving them Furious Charge and these Wolf Hammers, they become good. It's a build around unit. You can just fill your core with a blob of 12 of those dudes if you really wanted to, and I think that's legit. With just a wizard or something inside them, or a priest of Ulrich, and you do work. This is a sick order, and I think even to run them as a smash face list in the Knightly Orders isn't terrible. You just rush all of these knights at your opponent with Furious Charge and hope for the best. It's a legitimate strategy.
100%. That little brick of Inner Circle Knights that I tried to run with the damage to Priest of Ulrich in there, just giving 8 Inner Circle Knights Furious Charge with those great hammers just seems gas. It is amazing. I will be trying that unit again. Peter, you're up next.
The Order of the Blazing Sun. The Knights of the Blazing Sun are vigilant students of war who strive for perfection on the battlefield. So these guys get Evasive and the Flaming Attack special rule, which is really neat. I really want to give these guys a test because Evasive seems like it'll be real cute. In addition, just like with the others, Grandmasters, Chapter Masters, and units of Inner Circle Knights that belong to the Order of the Blazing Sun get an additional combat resolution point when calculating combat results during a turn in which they charged. This bonus is not cumulative. So if you have like a Chapter Master, a Grandmaster, and both in a unit of Inner Circle Knights, you don't get +3 on the charge. You still would just get a +1. But that's still pretty cool. It makes your Knights kind of cap out at 5, 6, 7 combat res instead of 3 or 4 in most cases if you really want to go all out. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, well, what I really like about this is that little inner circle, so little combat res bomb that I was running. I tried to make an inner circle combat res bomb similar to the veteran state troops, and it almost worked. So this might be another reason for me to try that. I'm not sure how I feel about flaming, because there's randomly just a bunch of armies that just have extra saves versus flaming, and so people don't take
like
flaming.
Order of the White Wolf?
Yeah, all of a sudden you play against Order of the White Wolf and you're like, shit, all my shit.
These guys hate each other.
These guys don't like each other very much.
Man, those White Wolf guys trained into the Blazing Sun a lot, netted.
But you do get 2 cannons in Blazing Sun too, which is not shabby.
That is, and Wizard Lords.
No, you get Master Mages, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Only level 2.
Oh, it's just Master Mages? Yeah. Oh, okay, sorry.
Not as good.
Not the Orders of Maw, which is up next. They do get Wizard Lords. Models belonging to the Knights of Maw gain Hatred Undead, which is so good. And have a 6+ ward save against any wounds suffered that was caused by non-magical enemy attacks, which actually is kind of nice. Every time you save a knight because you made a 6+, it's going to feel pretty good. In addition, Grandmasters, Chapter Masters, Inner Circle Knights gain fear and magical attacks. So you will shred those demons like they ain't never been shredded before, and those ethereal nonsenses, and you get access to wizards. So Knights of Maw, just by getting access to wizards, even if this was a blank page, would still be pretty high on my estimations.
Yeah. These guys.
Wow. Getting Hatred Undead is fantastic. Is really good.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Everything about this. All of your Inner Circle Knights and shit, like even your Empire Knights, your Demigryphs, basically turn into Chaos Chosen as long as your opponent doesn't have magical attacks. And Fear on these big blobs that you can easily turn into Terror. This is a really good order.
Yeah, Knights of Maw is my number one for thinking this is the one I could make a competitive list out of.
Sure.
And do you echo that, Peter?
I think, in terms of just the Knightly, if you're running the Knightly Order army, I think so. Yeah. I think they, they're a stat check, but that's actually just, legitimately good.
And this is the one that I feel like you can flex into your Grand Army. If you were metaing for the game right now, I would 100% put in a Knights of Maw unit, like of Inner Circle Knights, rather than a regular Inner Circle.
Really? I would do Wolf every time.
It would be... dude, Hatred Undead Hatred Undead.
Double your attacks on it.
Yeah, Furious Charge is good, man. But why do you need double attacks when you just reroll? It can almost turn into the same thing.
Why do you need rerolls when you double your attacks?
And Hatred doesn't require you to. Hatred doesn't require you to charge.
That's true. But then you're strength 3, and I'm sitting here at strength 4 or 5.
Yeah, sure.
Or 6 that's with those hammers. AP2. Living my best life.
I guess you could great weapons on Knights of Maw too, though, right?
You could just take great weapons, exactly. You could just take great weapons. You could
okay. I'm coming back around, Adam. I'm coming back.
Okay, Adam. Okay. You keep your secrets.
I do know something sometimes. Peter, what's the last one?
Order of the Fiery Heart. So these fanatical knights work closely with the cult of Sigmar and have gained a reputation as the shield of the Sigmarite faithful. So these guys, on top of letting you have flagellants in your army, which everybody wants, any of their units, I love this, they have more restrictions. Any of your units that are Order of the Fiery Heart can only be joined by a Grandmaster or a Chapter Master of the Fiery Heart, or a Lector or Priest of Sigmar. If you choose to take Witch Hunters or any other characters in your list, which I think you can only take them, they cannot join this unit. They are too pure to be touched by anything else. They do get Hatred, enemy wizards, and orcs and goblins, which isn't terrible. And they get +1 initiative the first round of combat. pretty sweet. Kind of puts them on par with elves and things when you need to be.
Yeah.
Lastly, your Grandmasters, your Chapter Masters, and your Inner Circle Knights that are Order of the Fiery Heart may reroll to hit rolls and to wound rolls of a natural 1 made during the combat phase, which is pretty sweet. I mean, Inner Circle Knights already reroll hit rolls of 1, so they're only getting half of this ability. But, like, it's not terrible. Rerolling 1s is always a nice thing to have in a game where there's not a lot of rerolls.
Yeah, I mean, Inner Circle Knights already had the ones to hit re-rolls, and then they'd have the ones to win. Or it's the other way around. I can't remember if it's a win or hit where they roll. I think it's hit, yeah. So that's nice. You give that, give them ones to wound as well. And then it actually helps a lot of your, Chapter Master punching ability with the ones, because so many times they're going to be hitting on 3s, now they're hitting on 3s, rolling 1s into chaff units and trying to clear things out. Because I found it very frustrated when I'd have like a general or a chapter master on a griffin just trying to kill 10 idiots to clear the way for the knights next turn, and they don't. And you're just like, really, dude? Really?
In my last game I played where I ran Grand Army, my Grandmaster of the White Wolf with his ogre blade went into like a little goblin on a chariot in a challenge, and I rolled 4 1s to wound, and it would have been real nice if it had been Fiery Heart, and I could have ended that combat right there. But such is life.
Such is life. Now that is actually the full deluge of Knightly Orders. Mostly restrictions with some good stuff. So what is your first impressions of this now, Danny? Because now you've absorbed the whole thing for the first time.
For me, Ulrich seems like they've really gotten the most out of this, or like Knights of the White Wolf. I think that they seem like, to me, just on first glance, I like that the best. Although I have to say, I would not take that as a competitive army, but I'd work those order rules back into my normal army. If I were going to try and build a competitive Empire Knightly Orders army, it would be Knights of More.
More all the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So in practice, I haven't gotten a ton of games in with it yet. I've only played 2 with Knights of More. It is like a huge stat check because you're taking 1 or 2 Wizard Lords. I was running just 1. You then have your captain on a Demi or a Pegasus, your Chapter Master, I should say, and your Grandmaster on a Demi or a Pegasus. And then you've got 8 to 10 Inner Circle Knights, and then you still can easily fit another 8 to 10 Demigryphs in this list. And that's a lot of 2+ save wounds that your opponent has to get through that also have a 6+ ward. On top of all the other things you can easily throw on them, like magic resist, and you can make effectively a level 5 wizard in this book for this Knightly Order to run around with. And it becomes just there's just the amount of times you're just rolling 2-ups, and sometimes with a reroll on that armor save it's very frustrating for your opponent. It's a very strong list.
I agree. So the only 2 that make the cut for me is I do think there is a very specific build in my head where I play max MSU Knights Order of the White Wolf, or I just build like you said, a min-maxed, I'm going to be Bretonnian but better. Bretonnia and Warriors of Chaos had a baby, Knights of More.
I wouldn't say they're better than Bretonnia because you don't. I don't think they're better than Bretonnia at a lot of things. And I don't think they're better than Warriors of Chaos at a lot of things because they don't have a dragon equivalent, for one. But they're somewhere in the middle, and I think that's still a pretty good place to be. Oh, it's a good list. That amount of 2+ armor saves, not too. I don't know if any other army can do it. Maybe I'm wrong, and that's pretty solid. Having 40 2+ saves,
exactly
worth of wounds to go through.
So I have a fundamental issue with this Knightly Orders Army of Infinity. Why am I playing with a super sandboxed army? Super sandboxed that comes with additional restrictions within the units in that sandbox, and then paying points for the special rules I should just freaking get for playing exclusively in that sandbox. It shits me enormously that not only do I have to restrict myself from playing with the plethora of other units that would flesh out to make it a well-rounded army, but then I have to pay extra points for the privilege that I'm already restricting myself to get. It really annoys me. I almost feel like these Knightly Orders should be free. And if they were to be free, maybe you could, dumb them down a little bit, because some of them are very pushed. Like I said, Order of the White Wolf. Maybe you make them pay not to be an Order of the White Wolf, but make them pay for the Wolf Hammers instead. And then, you start getting somewhere a little bit more interesting. So yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with this because I feel like this is an Army of Infamy that they tried very hard to not make good. Like they had all the abilities to just leave people a floodgate to play with their knights and enjoy and have Britonia at home. And then they were like, but let's not let them enjoy the journey. Let's not let them enjoy building these army lists, because it's pulling teeth. I think I have the army in the right points, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, I need to pay. It was 3 points for White Wolf, not 2 points, and oh crap, I'm over on that one, so I've got to dumb that down to put that back in. But then I got an extra points for a character. But the character comes with a 10-point premium, so it just gets really bean countery and kind of frustrating.
Also, with this, like no matter what knightly order you take, probably 1,700 points is going to be the same.
Correct.
Because of the restrictions, you're just so locked into what you have to do.
So already, we went through last week, we went through the full Empire Army Book review, and we were of the opinion that every unit is at sometimes 20% overcosted compared to their meta equivalents, like up to 20% overcosted. And now those knightly units that you're forced to take with this, that are already in some metrics overcosted, are going to cost you more. And it's just like this double down snowball effect that just means that sometimes for the list that I've written, I'm like, I don't have enough units. I just do not feel like I have enough units to play the kind of game that I want to play for 6 turns. It's like I'm costed into like yeeting myself at my opponent and trying to break them or not break them, and we're done by turn 3. Or like I try and build a Knightly Orders army that doesn't play like a Knightly Orders army, and therefore why am I playing Knightly Orders? I can just take Grand Army and put 1 unit of Knightly Orders in. There's a lot of headaches that come with this build.
It's just boring is my problem with it. I think this was super cool.
Yeah.
Except that this shouldn't have been the Army of Infamy. The Knightly Order stuff, like these special rules and the Knightly Order, like pay extra points, I'm actually fine with it. If that was like our troll magic, you know what I mean? Like you have your 2 armies of infamy. Here's this extra thing you can also do that's super cool. And instead you get like a cult's army of infamy because they give you so much Ulrich shit we're going to talk about later. And there's some Sigmar shit. Like you could have done a cult of Ulrich army of infamy in this that would have been sick. I think. And this could have just been like, yes, you can upgrade a unit and a character to be one of these super cool knightly orders.
Exactly. It should have been its own little segment in the unit entries, being like if you are taking an army infamy here, or 0 to 1 per 1,000 points in the Grand Army list, can be upgraded to have these knightly orders and these special rules attached. And that's it. No restrictions, none of that. You're just paying points to get stuff. That's totally fine. You shouldn't be paying points and sandboxing yourself and restricting yourself and then paying points. It's one or two more levels of hoops than necessary. All right, Danny, you have the first of the special characters, the first of the unique lads.
Oh my God, this guy, the Grandmaster of the Knights Panther. What a classic callback to what is essentially one of the formative pieces of Warhammer art of the Knight Panther, like on top of a cliff, swinging his battle axe, Beast Reaver as we know it to be now. So this is your standard Grandmaster. He's the Grandmaster of the Knights Panther. Weapon skill 7, strength and toughness 4, 3 wounds, 6 initiative, 4 attacks, leadership 9, 185 points. He also comes bog standard with a barded warhorse. And he himself has full plate armor, a hand weapon, and Beast Reaver. He has a lot of special rules, guys. He's got countercharge, he's got first charge, he's got Grandmaster of the Knights Panther. He's got Hatred, Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen, Brayherds, and Demonic models. He's immune to psychology. He has Magic Resistance 1. He has Master of Battle. He has Rallying Cry. He has Skilled Duelist. He has Stubborn, Swift Stride, and Veteran. Now, he has 2 special rules that are his own. He's got Grandmaster of the Knights Panther, which lets him reroll a single dice of natural 1 when making a charge. And he can only join units that belong to the Knight Panther. So this rule is basically like, hey, he has the Knights Panther rule. That's all this rule is. Yeah. Skilled Duelist, though, is kind of interesting. And I don't really know how this works in the game. But he should he slay an enemy in a challenge in a turn in which he's charged, he may immediately issue a second challenge. If this challenge is accepted, it is fought immediately, meaning that Harald, not his mount, may fight 2 challenges in a single round of combat. So
my issue here is it doesn't explicitly say that he attacks again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't explicitly say that he gets to roll his 4 attacks again. And that's what I'm really quizzical about, because I think the intent is that he does.
Yes.
But unless they actually say so, it's hard to convince an opponent that he gets to dunk on your unit champion and then go after your wizard.
Right.
Like, that kind of thing.
So it's that. And his magic weapon, Beast Reaver, is strength +1, AP -1, armor bane 1, killing blow, and magic attacks. And if he is attacking against a Beastman Brayherds unit, he gets to reroll failed rolls to wound, which is very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
With killing blow. Yeah.
Have you played with this guy? Yeah, he is. Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah. So if you price up another Grandmaster, I'll just quickly
40 more points.
Yeah, I was about to say it's 40 more points to do something similar on a barded horse, full plate, with a killing blow weapon. Yeah, it's a lot more points.
It's actually less than that because you have to pay for Knight Panther, and he gets that for free.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So 30 points for him. That's not bad.
Yeah, because he's paying 10 points for Knight's Panther, so he's 175 base. I wish he was an extra 2 points so he could have taken a shield, because then I would think he was kind of – because that's his downfall, right? He has 1 more weapon skill than a regular Grandmaster as well. He's weapon skill 7, which is legitimate. Now weapon skill 3 stuff's hitting you on 5s and you're hitting them on 2s. So that's cool. He has a 3+ save.
No ward. Just a 3+, 3 wounds and a dream.
He is initiative 6, so he's also faster than a regular Grandmaster, I believe. I think they're 5.
Yeah, that's right.
But like,
nope, regular Grandmasters are 6 too.
Oh, then never mind. So he just has the +1 weapon skill. So this dude is raw dogging a 3+ armor save with a one-handed weapon. It's not even two-handed, and he's like, shields, dudes.
Yep. Never heard of shield, bro.
Yeah, he's keeping one hand for himself, probably his drink, honestly.
He has one hand on his drink or in his codpiece, flailing that axe around, just a Jim, where's them? Where the white women at? He's just coming for blood. He's killing beastmen like nobody's. If you only play against beastmen, run this guy. If you play against anything else, just don't do it. Don't hurt yourself.
Just think about another option. Yeah.
So just rolling him out, like he has I rolled him out a couple of times versus a man-eater captain, like a man-eater sergeant. And the man-eater, like as long as the man-eater has like a regen or Oaken Shield or something, and he does, he just ices this dude, just beats him in combat.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's got killing blow. He's got hatred against chaos stuff. So he's against Beastman, he has full rerolls of everything. That's hit and win. Yeah. Like, if like he will kill a Minotaur champion and something else. I don't think I'll be honest. If I did the double challenge thing and after I read my opponent the rule and I do my second challenge and he's like, you don't get to fight again though, I would deck my opponent right in the face. I would just be like, what are you talking about?
So extreme.
Take your left hand out of your codpiece.
I would.
My punching hand.
Just punch him right in the kisser. Because what are you talking about? Why would they add all these extra words?
Yeah.
And
to just
my
let you
opponent
issue
would
a
probably
challenge.
say it's Empire, and I'd be like, oh, you're right. Yeah, that's what GW does.
Yeah.
Because I imagine this will get FAQ'd and they'll just be like, nope, he doesn't actually get to make attacks. He just gets to say challenges.
He just gets to get attacks issued against him with his 3-up save.
Anyway, Harold is narratively amazing.
Look, I still if Knight's Panther was better, like if he was Knights of More instead of Knight's Panther, I would take him for the 185.
If he was Knights More, he'd be sick as all get out.
He'd have a ward save at least.
He'd have a 6-up
save. He probably would have decided to bring a shield with him too, to be honest.
And against Undead, which is the Knights of More, the second challenge is actually sick.
Yeah.
is actually sick. All right, but moving on to the second of the characters, and I know you've played with this guy at least once or twice, Peter. So tell us about General Hans von Luckenhackel.
Hans von Lowenhack. So this guy is actually playable and cool, both narratively and I think maybe not hyper competitively, but like there's some competitive stuff you can do with this guy. Also, really cool lore about this dude as being like the one true like son of the Empire. Like that's his whole shtick, is that he fights for all of the different provinces. Whoever needs him, basically, he shows up, which is kind of neat. Right now, he's fighting for Nuln in the lore, but he's kind of a better Empire general. So he's got weapon skill 6 instead of weapon skill 5. He's movement 4, strength 4, toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 4 attacks instead of 3 attacks. Leadership 9. 190 points, not cheap, but I mean, if you're decking out a general and all the good stuff, it's going to run you around that price anyway. He is on foot. He doesn't have a mount, unfortunately. That said, he does have his full plate. He's got his hammer called Judgment. And the second coolest helm in this book, the Griffin helm. For special rules, he's got Hold the Line, which is like your bog standard general rule. He's got Mercenary Commander, Rallying Cry, Strategic Mastery, and Stubborn. Mercenary Commander is the first rule. So because Hans fights for everyone and anyone, he has met all sorts of really cool people along the way, and mercenaries will join his cause without issue. So any mercenaries that you bring in your army, if Hans is your army general, they get to use his inspiring presence. And they do not have misbehaving mercenaries. So you don't have to roll on that chart at the beginning of the game. They'll just automatically do what you ask. Strategic Mastery is probably where most of the power behind Hans is, and that is when you roll off to determine who takes the first turn, you get to apply a +1 or -1 to the result of your roll after you see it. And lastly, the Griffin Helm gives him a 5+ ward save and makes him immune to Killing Blow. So instead of taking killing blows, he treats them as regular wounds. And so he gets to make an armor save and a regen save, whatever saves he might be able to take. And if he fails to save it, he still only takes 1 wound. Judgment is effectively a great weapon, but it's multiple wounds 2, and he strikes at initiative. So he's strength +2, AP 2, multi-wounds 2.
It's very good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
This guy, if he was on a horse, he would almost be an auto take, in my opinion. Not on a horse, he's still pretty cool. The +1, -1 to going first is has always in Warhammer been a pretty strong ability. Generally, people have figured out ways to abuse it. So
this was the key to what I was talking about with the double vanguarding Hellblasters. Just having that +1 to go or not go first, in addition to vanguarding 2 Hellblasters up to smoke a flank. And so he goes together with that really well, but it's playing against the grain of what everything else in Nuln tells you to do with the Outriders and stuff. That all of a sudden you've got a 190 point character plus 2 very expensive Hellblasters, plus 15 points on each of those. And then you just got 500 less points of Outriders and Outrider support, which means your army gets a little awkward all of a sudden. And then you may or may not want to take advantage of the Mercenary Commander. There is another unit coming in a moment that makes a lot of sense in a lot of Empire books, that being the Imperial Ogres, or the Ogre Mercenaries, which is a very good thing. Sorry?
Yeah. He can't join those, but he can make them not misbehaving mercenaries, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And if you take a unit of 5, they could protect him, right? Until they lose. Right?
Sure.
Yeah, correct. And so that was the idea there. And then you use that unit to be your defense. You deploy them next to the Vanguarded Hellblasters and use them as the counter assault and the deterrent there. But then all of a sudden, you're priced into 700 points of your army into just making 2 Hellblasters work. So whether that is worth it or not for you is entirely up to you.
Fair.
Yeah, I'd probably just take cannons.
Yeah.
You could put him in a unit of Imperial Dwarves.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
they suck.
You have to, if you're doing it in Nuln, you have to take those Nuln State troops. So now you've got 10 guys with halberds to protect them.
Oh, that's true.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, you're already priced into that. And you have an additional sergeant in the detachment to take another challenge off him if you need to. That's not the worst thing ever either. All right. Harbingers of Doom are up next, and this is a character pretty much exclusively for your flagellant units. He is movement 5, weapon skill 5, which is not bad. Bliss skill 2, strength and toughness 4, which is kind of spice. 2 wounds, initiative 4, 3 attacks, leadership 8, 65 points. Comes with a big old hand freaking weapon. Can be upgraded.
The biggest hand weapon.
The biggest of hand weapons. May be taken with the following: flail for 3 points, great weapon for 4 points, and 50 points of magic items. Has feel no pain, similar to flagellants. Furious charge, similar to flagellants. Move 2, psychology, impetuous, hatred, all enemies, prayers of the damned, unbreakable, and zealot. Prayers of the damned is during the combat subphase this turn. He pretty much acts like a priest. You can take a leadership test using his own leadership of 8, and then you get one of the following buffs: a 6+ ward save against any wounds suffered, and a 5+ ward save against any wounds suffered that were caused by in combat by an enemy unit with the fear or terror special rules. And zealot simply means can only join a unit with the fanatical zeal special rule, which is only flagellants. Preachers of Doom means that an MPR of Man Grand Army can take 1 to 0 Harbingers of Doom for each unit of flagellants as a character choice. And I see these guys as a pretty huge fat swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the prayer is just the rule that flagellants
they have already
have, except it's non-magical, right? So this all he does is make it work against everything.
Yeah, it's. I mean, what? Huh? The only relevant special. Like, he must join flagellants, and he gives them pretty much just rounds out the special rule on the flagellants. Doesn't give them anything spicy or anything interesting. Like, put this guy in there and say that they're not subject to impetuous, and then we are cooking. We are absolutely cooking. Just do that instead. Doesn't need this whole do a crappy. be a crappy priest for 65 points. I struggle with this guy. I want him to be good, but I just don't think he is.
He's terrible.
Yeah, he's
absolutely
not good.
Yeah, 2 wins of toughness 4, and you take 50 points of magic items. So, like, are you going to spend any points on this guy? And then when you're like, well, I'm not spending any points on this guy, well, then what? He's not bringing enough on face value to warrant his inclusion. So you just don't take it. Like,
now,
it doesn't make flagellants act in any different way or do anything other than what they were already doing already. So why take him? Take 65 points and more flagellants. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Anyway, sorry guys, it's bad.
I mean, you get 4 great weapon attacks. That's not.
I guess if you want to put a magic item inside of your unit, I guess that's the only real way to do that. But
yeah,
don't do that instead.
Yeah,
don't do it, guys.
My first instinct was that he's cheaper than 5 flagellants, so just take him as a little piece of unbreakable for your army, just a little unbreakable to chuck here and there. But then I was like, oh wait, he's toughness 4 with 2 wounds, and you have to pay some of his 50 points to get him a save. And you're like, there's no 50 points I can put on him that's going to make him survive. So move on.
Ooh, maybe.
Oh, is there? Oh no, is there?
No, I don't think it works because he doesn't wear armor at all.
No,
I don't think he can take the
exactly. And so you're wasting a talisman of preservation equivalent to try and give this guy a 5-up, and 2 wounds, toughness 4 with a 5-up doesn't change the matrix very much at all.
All right, let's go talk about something way cooler.
Oh, way better.
You tell us about this.
So we have the Tejujin Guard here, which is is that how you say that? I don't know.
I say Tutijin, but I don't think
I say Tutijin.
That sounds
There's
more
somebody
right.
that's really mad at both of us right now.
Yeah.
Some German dude is just pissed.
No matter what is correct, we've just pissed off everybody. It's great.
Yeah, it's fine. You know what though? This is probably the coolest unit in the whole book, so you guys should listen to this.
I think
I think second coolest, but
after the Highwayman.
No. After the War Wagon.
Oh,
but this is my favorite.
This is my favorite. Okay.
This is my favorite.
All right. So these guys, the T Guard, as I like to call them.
T Guard, T babies.
T Guard. Weapon skill 4, strength 3, toughness 4. Love to see that on human infantry. 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, leadership 8 for 13 points of model. The champion gets +1 weapon skill and attack for 8 points. They're unit size 5+. They come replete with hand weapons, wolf hammers, and full plate armor. Command is 8 points for the champion, 7 points for standard and musician. They can take a 50-point magic banner. 0 to 1 unit can have the Guardians of the Temple special rule, which lets them re-roll 1s to hit in combat. And they have the Blessings of Ulrich, Close Order, Drilled, Guardians of the Temple, Stubborn, and Veteran rule. Wait, okay, hold on a minute. I assume that they're not supposed to have Guardians of the Temple, and that's supposed to be like just for 1 point a model upgrade, right?
Yeah, that would be my guess, because otherwise it's hilarious, because you can pay 1 point to get the rule they just have.
Yeah.
Blessings of Ulrich means models of the special rule of a 6+ ward save against any attacks that were caused by an attack that's a flaming attack special rule. Awesome. We already talked about Wolfhammers. They're great. And then you can, an army made using the Empire of Man Grand Army composition may include 0 to 1 units of T-Guard as a special choice per Warrior Priest of Ulrich it includes. So what a great unit. They have all the good rules. They have Stubborn. They have Veteran. They have Drilled. They have a better combat weapon than greatswords.
Correct.
The only thing that greatswords have over these guys, and is the stupidest thing, is greatswords are a regimental unit, so they can take a detachment. But like that's a bad thing to rest your head on. These guys are just,
and their champion can take magic items in this. The Tutogen Guard can't.
That's true.
That said, though, let me just tell you a story. So when I first opened these guys up, I was like, surely greatswords are cheaper than I remember, and these guys are not just 2 points more than a greatsword for twice the greatsword. Straight up, you pay 2 points more for a Tutogen Guard, and just off the cuff, +1 toughness. Okay, I'll just let that sit for a moment.
Adam,
moving on.
Don't even let it sit. Like, you pay 2 points more, but in order for greatswords to have Drilled and
it's
Stubborn,
2 points per model,
it's
and
2
Veteran
points per model.
Yes. So realistically, your greatswords to get the same Veteran and Drilled is 14 points per model. So 1 point more than these bastards. They both have Stubborn. That's fine. And these guys get the rerolls, the better weapon, and 6 ward save. But against flaming attacks, these guys are just so much better than greatswords, and it pisses me off because I want greatswords to be good so much, but these guys just leave them in the absolute dust.
Yeah, like infantry, especially elite infantry that isn't core, isn't in the best spot in this game, which is unfortunate for the Tutogen Guard. But I think if any elite infantry is going to make it, it's going to be these guys.
This is enough for me. This is enough for me to try, to want to try a decent sized brick, 20+ with a priest, with a mystical pathways or an activator to get them up the table, and they've got Drilled, they've got marching column, all that stuff. They can really get around the board as long as, like I said, you have an activator to make them get in the game.
Yeah, I'd probably do a Priest of Ulrich and a Demonology Wizard for
Demonology Wizard. Which means you're not taking this in their Knightly Orders. You're taking this in the Grand Army, and that's where I think these will do their best work. Because of course the Knightly Orders, if you're taking this in the Knightly Orders, you're going to have 1 unit of slow Tutogen Guard with no wizards in an all cavalry list, where they're going to outpace this guys completely, and these guys are either going to be your turn 6. Hopefully they did something, or they're just going to get isolated and destroyed. So
you can actually take an infinite number of these units in that list. It's not just
correct. You could take a whole army of Tutogen Guard, which could
in the Knightly Cavalry army. Yeah, that makes sense. That works.
Yeah, it works. But anyway, all right, moving on. Imperial Ogres, PD baby.
Imperial Ogre. So this is your other ogre infantry option. Badlands Ogre Bulls, by the way, can also be taken by the Empire. So you do have that option. 31 points gets you your movement 6, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, tough 4, 3 wound, initiative 2, 3 attack. Bog standard ogre. You get the option to pay 7 points for a captain. These guys do not get musicians and standards, unlike the Badlands Ogre Bulls, which get both. But the captain is ballistic skill 4, and he gets that 1 more attack. For weapons, you lose out on Iron Fists, unlike the Badlands, but you get great weapons, Morning Stars. Just don't take those unless you're just have 2 points you need to spend. Light cannons and ogre pistols. Any unit can upgrade one of their models to be a captain, which we've already mentioned, and they can replace their base light armor with heavy armor, which you should do for 3 more points per model. They come based with Armor Bane 1, like all ogres do, Close Order, Fear, Impact Hits 1, Mercenaries, Motley Crew, and Ogre Charge. Ogre Charge, if you're if you remember the Ogre book, gives you AP on your impact hits based on how many ranks you have. They give the stat line for a light cannon, which is slightly better than the lead belcher, I believe. I think it's actually slightly better than it. 18-inch range, strength 4, AP -1, armor bane 2, and like the lead belcher 1, it's on a successful roll to hit. You get D3 hits on a target enemy unit rather than the usual 1.
Yep.
Ogre pistols, 24-inch range, strength 4, AP 1, armor bane quick shot. These can be taken in Dwarven Mountain Holds and Empire of Man as a 0 to 1 option mercenary unit. It's pretty solid. I mean, it's your monstrous infantry.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want like lead belchers in your Empire list, it's not terrible. I think because Badland Ogre Bulls can be also taken in Empire, they're probably better because they have the access to Iron Fists.
Yeah.
So you can mix and match.
Yeah, I think you can go either way on them. I think if you want to, I think there's some cute things you can do with Motley Crew and like 4 ogres, having, here's 2 with heavy armor, here's 1 with great weapon, here's 1 with whatever. And you can do that kind of min-maxy weird abuse the Motley Crew rule. But I don't know if they're going to make the cut, any of the ogres. But we will see. Empire Road Wardens is up next. 18 points per model. We'll get you a light cavalry on a warhorse, just a standard warhorse. They're weapon skill 3, bliss skill 4, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 3, 1 attack, leadership 7. They come equipped with crossbows and heavy armor. The entire unit may replace crossbows with a brace of pistols, 1 point per model. Any unit can have their 6-point upgrades. And then they can have 2 points a model. No standard. They can have captain and musician for 6 points, and then have feigned flight special rule for 2 points per model. Captain can have a brace of pistols, repeat a pistol, and any unit may replace the Vanguard special rule with ambushes or scout. You may replace with scout. No one's going to replace it with ambushes. And special rules, they have fast cav, fire and flee, open order, skirmishes, swift stride, and vanguard. Guardians of the Imperial Highways, any army made using Empire Grand Army list may include 0 to 1 units of Road Wardens as special choices per 1,000 points. And they represent this unit in your games is pretty much Empire Outriders armed with crossbows is instead of, and you take the crossbows from the State Mitchell Troops kit. They've pretty much told you how to kit bash this unit, which I think is
But don't do it. Don't do it that way.
Just run them as real
pistols on these guys. Yeah. Like Danny
Sorry?
said.
Run them as real pistoliers, pistoliers that are good.
Pistoliers that don't have impetuous is what you're saying. And 150% this is what you do.
Yeah, these guys are good.
Yeah. We were weird on these guys. Peter and I were like, are these guys good? Are they not good? Is this just taking up points that should be spent on more Outriders? But the fact is that these guys are, I think, auto takes for Nuln armies. I think these guys are auto takes in the Grand Army list more than anything else. So a Pistolier runs you 18 points per model. So you're going to pay 3 points more than a Pistolier to be a Pistolier without impetuous. And you know what? Fucking oath, I'm doing that 100% every time.
I think it's 4 more points, but it's well worth it.
Well, it's the same cost as Outriders, though. Outriders are 19 points per model, and Pistoliers will be Road Wardens are 18 plus 1 for the brace of pistols per model.
Yeah. But then you also want Feigned Flight because Feigned Flight's amazing.
Exactly right.
And you probably take scouts on these guys, but like Vanguard's fine.
Pistoliers have to spend 2 points a model on Vanguard.
Correct.
Yeah,
that makes Pistoliers even worse.
That's right. I forgot about that. These guys are taking these 5 of these guys with scouts and Feigned Flight and brace of pistols is awesome. Because Feigned Flight plus Swift Stride, no one's ever going to catch you as long as you don't deploy like a Knots. Any charge that you bait out, you're just going to get to launch 10 shots into them. Also these guys are ballistic skill 4, not ballistic skill 3 like Pistoliers.
Correct.
So these guys are good. You should take 5 at least, in my opinion.
They come as units of 4 as well, so you can min-max them if you want. But I think 2 units of 5 in every Empire Grand Army makes all the sense in the world to me.
What do you think, Danny?
Wonderful. So next we have. Oh gosh, Adam. Yeah. I don't know if I want to talk about this. This is your favorite unit in the whole book. I will.
No, the Tudor Guard was my favorite unit, but this is what I think the thing people are going to enjoy the most about about these units.
Okay, so War Wagon. The Empire War Wagon is a heavy chariot that costs 140 points. It has strength and toughness 5 and 6 wounds. It has 6 crew and 2 barded war horses. 3s across the board on those boys with 1 attack. It's leadership 8. It has an armor value of 3+. Amazing. It has special rules. It has close order, crushing weight, impact hits D6+1, War Wagon only, large target, stable firing platform, and stomp attacks D3+1. Stomp attacks has crushing weight special rules, so that stomp attacks are AP1. And in addition, unlike other chariots, this model treats low linear obstacles as dangerous terrain rather than impassable terrain. So it'll just smash right through them. Somehow the horse jumps over. I don't know. And stable firing platform means that you can shoot missile weapons even if it marches. So it's movement 7. So it can move pretty quick. It also has assorted weapons, which is what the crew are armed with. So each crew member is armed with a different weapon. You have a blunderbuss, a long rifle, a repeating rifle, a ball and chain, a hooked halberd, and a man catcher. You can shoot with each guy in the shooting phase, and you can use their unique weapons or their hand weapon if you'd like. So blunderbuss is range 12, strength 3, -1 AP, multiple shots D3 with volley fire. And you suffer no negative modifiers for firing at long range or for using multiple shots D3 or for making a stand and shoot, just like the normal blunderbuss. Long rifle, range 36, strength 4, -1 AP, armor bane 1, and cumbersome. Model armed with a long rifle, you can target special units, so it's like a Hochland long rifle. And then we have the repeating rifle, which is range 24, strength 4, -1 AP, armor bane 1, multiple shots 3. And then we have the close combat weapons. So we have a ball and chain, strength +3, AP -2, armor bane 1, requires 2 hands, strikes last. 1 hooked halberd, which is strength +1, AP -2, armor bane 2, requires 2 hands. And the man catcher, which is strength user, AP -1, killing blow, requires 2 hands. And last but not least, engines of destruction. Any army may use using the Empire Man Grand Army can include 0 to 1 war wagons as a rare choice per 1,000 points. And a war wagon may be included in your army as a character's mount as follows. If so, its points are added to that of the rider. It's 140 points.
It's a house. It's an absolute house. And funnily enough, it's pretty much the best monster in Empire, because any character on a Griffin runs you far more than 140 points, is pretty much the same defensive profile. As in, it's very hard to get a 2+ on a mounted Gribbly in Empire. You can do it, but it costs you buying the additional helm. And so toughness 5 with 6 wounds and a 3+ on a unit. This is the thing I love about it the most, is it has impact hits and stomps. So you being charged isn't the worst thing in the world because you still have stomps. What I do suggest you do is you bring a chess clock, and every time someone attacks you with the war wagon, you pull the chess clock out and you just see how long it takes them to resolve a single activation of the war wagon, shooting or combat, because it is a long, tenuous adventure. Peter, you've played with this a couple of times, mate. What are your hot takes?
It's great. The only problem with it is when you go up against people with 90 poison shots volley firing at this large target, because it's the large target rule that hurts it.
Really, the downside that kind of everything has in the game at the moment.
Well, it's not everything, right? Large target is the specific problem. If this was just a regular chariot, then they wouldn't get all of their shots, right?
If it was a regular chariot, though, it would suck. Its impact hits and stomps would be trash, right?
Well, they could have given it all those things and not made it large target. That said, I don't think those things weren't problems when they were developing this rule set. And large target does have the benefit of if you put an engineer on this in Nuln, he gets an 18-inch command range with his BSB ability, which is pretty sick. The only annoying thing about it is the assorted weapons, and generally, I would say you could also just choose not to attack after you did your impact hits, and it would probably save you time with all your weapon skill 3. Maybe do the killing blow punch just to see. Because I don't know if I've done a wound yet with it in close combat other than the impact hits and stomps. But yeah, no, it's great, and the fact that you can run so many of them, either in Nuln or particularly in Nuln, where they're a special option instead of rare, makes me think that there's a really fun meme list for Nuln with them that might actually be good. Like, they're just great.
I agree. I like it a lot, and it adds when you are taking a. So what I love about this is that it's a multimodal. It's a chassis that fits into multiple different archetypes of build. If you're playing a gun line, this is your counter charge and your deterrent. As in people want to push up, get in your face, bang, hit it with the wall wagon. In those armies that are gun lines, it still adds shooting. It still has shooting profiles, despite them being, pretty dang swingy. In your cav units, this is a baby steam tank, so because you can charge it into things that you can't really take head on, or let it absorb a charge from things if it sits at the strength 5, 6 win break point, where it can maybe be a legitimate speed hump for you. It has a beautiful profile for being just a good all the time. It's also a very buffable platform. Like if defensive buffs go on this thing really well.
That's true.
Yeah, so I like the wall wagon a lot. And because you can't fit two stanks, like a stank and a wall wagon is pretty good in your rare choice. If you want to play the stank, but I think for just significantly less points, you just take two wall wagons, which is 280 and only 20 points more than the 260 of the stank. I would rather two wall wagons than a steam tank now.
Oh yeah.
All right. Skipping over what we just read about the Knightly Order stuff, we're going to the magic items, and this is probably the best section of this book. First up is kind of all right, which is a weird thing to say. This is the Hammer of Righteousness. It's 50 points. It is strength +2, AP 2, magic attacks, requires 2 hands, and strikes last. Models hit by the Hammer of Righteousness must make a leadership test for each hit suffered, not wound. If the test is failed, it automatically wounds, and no armor saves are allowed. Regen awards may be taken as normal. If the test is passed, you're just a 50 point great weapon. There are some things like I think about this versus ogres. It's actually pretty good versus ogres because we've got pretty bad leadership. Like this will smack some Mornfang around pretty consistently. But the problem is just the number of attacks you wield make this a little unpalatable because you're hitting with 3 or 4 attacks, and So it's a bit whiffy at 50 points. It's a very specific meta good. But I mean, like this guy in a challenge, who's failing their leadership 9, leadership 10? Against characters, this makes no sense whatsoever. But if you want to play a guy just like an idiot on a Pegasus that just goes around and smashes chaff, this is actually not bad.
You know what I like about it?
Nothing.
No, this is like a real, like, if in magic terminology, like a Timmy weapon, right?
Yeah.
Because you can make a pretty cool necromancer build in Empire right now.
Oh yeah.
And you can take a necromancer and an illusion wizard, and give the illusion wizard this sword, give your necromancer all the dickens to make him like +5 to cast or whatever you need to do, reduce your opponent's leadership by 1 billion, and then doppelganger the shit out of him with this, and just be like, here you go, buddy. Hope for the best. I think that's really cute. I don't know if it's good, but we've seen a lot of other armies trying the same thing with whatever great weapon equivalent they can put on a wizard. So this is just Empire's version of it. Yeah. So
once again, should you roll doppelganger, get it off, and then roll double 6s for the amount of hits, you bring up your chess clock. You tap it onto them while they roll their 12 leadership tests. All right, moving on. Danny, you're up next.
All right, so we got Pearl Daggers. These are 35 points. They are a close combat weapon. Strength user, AP -1, extra attacks D3, magic attacks requires 2 hands, and you get to reroll failed to hit rolls during the combat phase.
Not just the first round, not just when you charged, all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty good, man.
That's neat.
I think there's a place potentially for it. I was thinking a lot of if they ever did anything to make witch hunters slightly better, these would be amazing on them.
Well, I still like my Captus idea. As in, like, here's just your captain on a Pegasus with just enough to let him do a job. And I usually take that guy with a lance on the budget option or a great weapon. But if I had the extra points, that guy going from to D3 plus a bunch of attacks plus the peg attacks makes him a lot more effective against chaff clearing, like a lot more. And then the 4 rolls to hit. So I think that might find a place in some of my lists. Peter.
The Blade of Silvered Steel is 30 points. Those who wield the blessed weapon will hunt the dead and the damned with unmatched zeal.
You flipped accents on us halfway through, man. Bamboozled.
He does that all the time.
It's a Blade of Silvered Steel. It's strength +1. Hot. AP -1. Okay. Hatred undead. Magical. It can only be taken in a Knightly Order of Infamy. Why? Undead models cannot make armor or regeneration saves against a wound caused by this weapon. It's not bad. It's like very specific to like a thing, but it's a good thing. Like, so yeah, like don't take this.
Yeah. Well, so the one take that I considered is that a Grandmaster with this, with the Furious Charge, which are the White Wolf, might smack a bunch of undead in like might just absolutely rip through a bunch of undead because it'd be still be strength 6 on the charge with Furious Charge, and yeah, he would just go to town.
He'd be strength 5.
Sorry, strength 5. Yeah, sorry, but he'd get the extra attack, so he'd be 5 attacks. Yeah, with hatred and no armor or regen saves, but still 30 points for something so specific. Like, yeah.
Yeah, like if you need an undead hunter because like your Tomb Kings are just always destroying your day or vamps, like this is kind of cool. You're gonna kill like a lot of characters and constructs and shit with it.
Well, what I love is actually against Blood Knights because they rely on their armor save.
Yeah, it's true. That's good.
It actually smacks Blood Knights pretty freaking well because you'll go in, you'll hit them on 3s, and then you'll wound them on 3s. No armor, no regen. So yeah. It's not the worst thing there. But yeah, still it's like 5 attacks. What you killed 2 Blood Knights on your best day.
Anyway. Maybe you kill 3. But the next thing.
Oh yeah, you can take it. You can take it, Peter. It's fine.
You think only 3? Really?
With
I guess with 4 attacks. Yeah, okay.
4 attacks, 5 attacks. Like that's the problem, right? Like even with the full rerolls, you might kill 5. But anyway,
if only you have 2 characters.
If only. But this thing, I'm taking this one because this thing is the bee's knees. Von Trickshot's Wondrous Arquebus for 25 points. So this sucker, it got a 36-inch range. So it's a ranged weapon for 25 points. Perfectly priced, in my opinion. Strength 5. Okay. Wish it was 6, but we'll live. AP 2. Okay. Armor Bane 1. Multiple wounds D3. Woo-wee. And
tis a cannon.
And you can only take it in the city-state of Nuln. And
it's not legal other places.
You do not yet in every other city-state, it is illegal to take this sucker. And you do not suffer a -1 modifier for shooting at long range. This is great. I mean, it sucks that you can only take it in Nuln. I wish that wasn't a thing. But the rest is great.
Well, Captain of the Empire comes in at a cheap 45 points, plus this 25 points goes to 70 with Blister Skill 5 and not taking the neg 1. So, yeah, very good.
Most of my known lists ran like double Captain on Peg, one with the Dragon Bow and one with this. And they just kind of fly around and plink wounds off monstrous infantry or monsters, and it's great.
It's really good. All right, Magic Armor, Shield of the Gorgon, 40 points. Shield of the Gorgon is a shield. Wow, shocked. May only be taken by a model in the Knightly Order Army of Infamy. Why? In addition, whilst in base contact with the bearer, enemy model suffers a -1 to its attacks characteristic to a minimum of 1. That is a very unique buff. That is quite rare in the game of the old world. Is it any good though, boys? What do you think?
It would be good if it was all of the models in the fighting rank.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's good in just base to base.
It's only so the reason I think it's good is because you take it on a single character. Putting this on a unit just means that no attacks go into this guy, and it's only the 2 or 3 in base contact. The other one that I thought, like, what's the biggest frontage model I can put in another unit that has a small frontage, which would be a demi in a unit of knights, because knights have a small frontage. The demi takes up a big frontage, and you get as many possible guys into base with the demi-give character. And of course you put him in the middle of the unit if you want, if you don't want to put him on the flanks,
right?
Because he's got
it's true, because he's different side. Yeah, so he has to be on the side. But even then it makes them
of 30 or whatever. He's a 50 base because they hate us.
That's the bit that makes the most sense to me. If you're not going to put it on like a griffin, you put it there.
You can't put it on a griffin.
No. Why? Take a shield.
It's
not in the Knightly Orders.
Knightly Orders only, dude. You can only take this on like a guy on a Pegasus or a Demigriff. Like every step of the way, Games Workshop has foiled you, Adam, on making this item good. And most of the items and rules in this book and every other book.
Wait, why can't I do the demi in the unit of knights?
You can do demi, but the demi is a 50 mil base and knights are 30s. So he has to stay on the side.
Stay on the side,
so
that's right.
So most of the time, they're only going to have one guy in base to base with you, with the demi. Unless like a demi in a unit of demis is your best bet.
Is your best bet. All right, Danny.
Terrible. All right, we got twice plus armor, 25 points.
Terrible. This is good.
This is the suit of full plate armor. In addition, the wearer can cast Hammer Hand from the Lord Battle Magic as a bound spell, power level 2. This is great.
It's an awesome item.
Awesome. Yeah. Brilliant. Peter.
This is probably the most powerful item in the book. What I'm about to read. So this is a very common item. The Witch Hunter's Ward. It's 20 points. So you can take as many of these as you want. And if you're running Knightly Orders or just a lot of knights, I recommend just taking a lot of them. A model with the Witch Hunter's Ward has magic resistance 2. And gets to re-roll a single failed armor save roll once per game. Brazen Collar is a pretty popular magic resist item for Chaos, and it only is magic resist 2 for 20 points.
Yep.
Obsidian Lodestones, people were taking those for a while, and they're 20 points for MR1.
Mm-hmm.
This is MR2 and a failed re-roll save. Like, in a lot of my lists I've been building right now for Knightly Orders and for like just knights in Grand Army, I have 2 or 3 of these, if not more, because I'm just like putting them on my demigriffs, I'm putting them on my Empire Knights, my inner circles. Like if I have 20 points to spend or 40, it's just like, where can I throw another Witch Hunter's Ward? Because they're just a solid item.
I totally agree. I think it's fantastic. And it really gums up the issues of you taking any of the orders that don't actually have wizards. Where you can just be like, all my important units, MR2. Yeah, we'll see if that gets us over the line. All right, Slayer's Hourglass, 10 points. Enemy models whose troop type is monster suffer a -1 modifier to their weapon skill characteristic whilst in base contact with the bearer of the Slayer's Hourglass. When you take a Grandmaster who is weapon skill 6, this can make other, Lord characters hit you on a 4 instead of a 3. There are plenty of weapon skill 7 Lords out there.
Yeah,
still some 8s. Most of them are 7. So this will bring you back to parity for only 10 points, and I don't hate that. If you can get like a single character like on it, because you can take this one with a guy on a freaking griffin, you can run that guy down and use him just as like an anti-monster, like hold in place. You're not going to beat them, but they'll hit you on 4s, wins you on 3s into a good armor save and award. So that could be an option for you. It's also fantastic. Like as an ogre player, I hate this thing because ogres wield very average weapon skills, and like a Stonehorn going to weapon skill 2, so the Stonehorn just doesn't hit with its 4 attacks. It kind of sucks. All right, Danny.
So we have Banner of the Knights Panther, 80 points. A battle standard bearer belonging to the Order of the Knight Panther only. A unit carrying it gains the Unbreakable special roll. It's interesting for 80 points. That's a lot of points, and you're putting it on a relatively fragile model.
Yeah, and it's on the wrong order for me. I mean,
so it can only go on a Chapter Master.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that Chapter Master, I don't think is allowed to join the veteran state troops or state troops if you bother to take them in the special slot in Knightly Orders. Because you have to take this in the knightly order.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking I want it like, if I'm going to take this, I'm taking like a giant unit of demigryphs with this in it and just like being like, all right, like I'm here to fight all day long.
I guess.
Right?
Yeah. I guess like you're just kind of locking that in.
They're here. These are 2+ armor save guys because they have to take lances.
Yeah. It's 80 points to go from stubborn to unbreakable.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so expensive.
Not ideal.
Someone hurt somebody real bad.
All right, Peter, what's next?
This is great. Well, it's good, I should say. The Tapestry of Sigmar's Triumph for 40 points. Let me get right into my screen. Depicting Sigmar's heroic victories, this standard inspires others to meet the enemies of the Empire with weapons in hand. A unit carrying the Tapestry of Sigmar's Triumph rerolls any rolls to wound of a natural 1 during the first round of combat. I wish it was just all the time rerolling 1s to wound, but 40 points. I'd take this. There's a number of units that like to reroll 1s to wound, and it doesn't specify the riders. So like this works on mounts. If you want to put it in the demigryph unit, for example, like it's not bad. It's good.
100%.
It just sucks that it's first round of combat because you're going to get confused and you're going to accidentally cheat. I guarantee it. At least
I would like to point out that Peter's read 2 other things without reading the italic text. So I would like to say we all got away with that one.
We'd love to see
Icon of More is up next for 25 points. A unit carrying the Icon of More gains the Fear special rule. If the unit already has the Fear special rule, they gain Terror. Who has Fear apart from Demis already?
All of the Knights of More?
Right.
Well, yeah, that's correct. So I just meant on their data sheets, but yeah, Knights of More just will get it. But fair. I think Demis are the only thing that in actual Empire that has Fear built in. I will have a quick squiz while Danny's reading the next one.
Sure. We've got the banner of the Free State of Nuln, 20 points. The banner of the Free State of Nuln may only be taken in a Nuln army of infamy, of course. A unit carrying the banner of the Free State of Nuln gains the Stubborn special rule. Yeah, that's fine for 20 points.
Yeah. Like
you can take that on most units' magic banner allotment too, which is nice. So you like to see that.
It just sucks that it's Free State of Nuln and they only have like 2 things that can have banners.
It's clearly for the veteran state troops.
It really is.
Yeah. How did you not know that?
They wrote several rules about this unit, so they are expecting you to use it. In fact, they make you use it.
That's the funny thing. Like, okay, James, I know you listen to this. You might not. Just give the veteran state Nuln troop, whatever the fuck they are, just give them Stubborn. We don't need to pay 20 more points for the banner. Just do it. You made me read half a page of rules that basically just says they're halberdiers.
Yeah.
Make them Stubborn.
My time costs money.
My time is my money.
And to translate that into Games Workshop terms, I mean points.
Only the demigryphs have Fear built in. And taking demigryph as a mount. Because the Griffins already have Terror, so that makes no difference there. Peter, you get one of the best ones.
Here's another. Yeah, this is a really good one. This is Squintsoften's Marvelous Magnifier. Very common item for some reason. 35 points. It's very common because it's just a telescope.
You can literally buy one of these.
I walked by one at Canadian Tire just today. Popularized by its namesake, this pocket-sized spyglass allows the bearer to more easily target distant enemies on the battlefield. Squintsoften's Marvelous Magnifier may only be taken by models in the city-state of Nuln, like everybody else. The bearer of a magnifier and any unit they have joined do not suffer the usual -1 to hit modifier when shooting at long range. It's pretty good.
It's a banger.
It is awkwardly costed at 35 points.
It is correctly costed at 35 points.
Agreed.
Because I want to take so many other things for 20 points to go with it, and you just can't because Nuln lets you take like 1 character, it feels like. I have run 2 or 3 of these in basically all my Nuln lists. It's hard because the math on it isn't actually that great for how many extra wounds it gives your Outriders, unless you're running like a big block. But
what is a big block, Peter?
well, I was running units. The biggest size I ran was 12.
Okay.
And those were in person, not bad. On Warhol, a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But in person, easily to manage. 12, I think when you get down to like 8 or 7 or whatever, it's not as worth it to bother with this. But at like 12, or if you're going to like 16 and you're taking 2 big blocks of Outriders instead, well worth it, because you want the extra 2 wounds or whatever it gives you a turn. Like you want that in a Nuln army, because you need to do as much damage as possible. You need to free up space so that you can move. So.
All right. Ring of Fortune, 20 points. Single use. The bearer of the Ring of Fortune may reroll any failed to wound rolls during the combat phase. So once per game, you get to reroll all your wounds. And funnily enough, this was my little combo with the Bladed Silvered Steel, which is the anti-undead one. So that when you fight against undead, you have hatred undead. So you reroll rolls to hit, you reroll all to wound, and they have no armor or regen against you. And that was my little anti-undead combo. Which cool. It is pretty cool. Yeah, it is pretty cool. Like, you want to go smash those Blood Knights, you're going to smash those Blood Knights. But yeah, apart from that, for 20 points, it's cute as a combo piece, but I can't see it being taken very often.
Yeah, it's not as good in my opinion as the 25 point reroll everything to hit once per game.
Yeah.
But it's still like
cool on an illusion wizard.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Danny, you're up next.
Okay, sorry. Ring of Tall, 20 points, also single use. Boo. The bearer of the Ring of Tall can cast Oaken Shield from battle magic. Yay. As a bound spell with power level 3. Fine.
Like, if this wasn't single use,
correct.
Amazing. And the first time I read this, I skimmed over single use.
Me too.
And so I was real excited about this item. I was like, they gave Empire this amazing power level 3 item. This is so great. It's not broken. You're going to want to take it. And then someone pointed out to me it was single use. And I was like, oh, shit. No, this is just garbage. Why? I mean, you may still take it on like once in a while, but like.
Yeah, the size says everything. All right. A twin-tailed wand. No, sorry. This is you, Peter.
Man, I'm getting all my favorites.
You get all the bangers.
I know, dude.
Do you got like? I'll take Tome of Midnight, because I think Tome of Midnight's just as good, if not better. But
I'll do the rhythm.
Twin-tailed wand, 40 points.
Freaking Skeksis? What are you, a Skeksis?
Though its origin is unknown, this impractical wand allows its bearer to unleash a torrent of magical force.
You dingus.
So yeah, once per turn, not once per game. Once per turn, the bearer of the twin-tailed wand may attempt to cast one of their spells a second time. However, should they miscast a spell, any spell, the bearer is overwhelmed by the winds of magic and suffers D3 wounds with no armor or regeneration saves permitted. Ward saves can be attempted as normal instead of rolling on the miscast table. That's a huge downside, but honestly, not that huge.
It's not that bad. It's kind of an upside a little bit.
That's what I was about to say. So you want to put this guy on at least a Pegasus, if not a Griffin, so you don't auto die the first time you miscast.
Yep.
But you don't have to worry about any of those miscasts where you just cannot cast the spell again for a spell for the rest of the turn, which is awesome. And doubling up a spell, like there's so many weird combos you can pull off with this. Not on top of just the fact that you can, recast a spell that you fail or gets dispelled, but doubling up. In my mind, I was thinking elementalism to double up things like Wind Blast to really shove a unit, or double up Travel Mystical Pathway to like teleport 24 inches across the battlefield.
You are missing the most Timmy shit possible there. Hammer of Righteousness, 50 points, 40 points, twin-tailed wand. That's 90 points of your 100 points. Chuck him on a Griffin, doppelganger.
Yeah, but then you have to get doppelganger, right? Like you're not.
You're not Dude, what could be more Timmy than having to building the whole thing and then having to roll doppelganger to make it work?
Wait, this might be 5 points over. I was thinking Giant Blade, the reroll to wound rolls thing, and this, and then the spell familiar, so I get 5 spells.
Yeah, that's over.
It is.
Okay,
Surely
I'm 5 points, right?
Yeah, it's 5 points over.
But like the killing blow sword, plus double doppelganger, and this is not. That'd be 95, sorry. And yeah, hilarious.
Love that.
Unit of 4 Mornfang, double doppelganger or killing blow. See you later. Get out of here. Yeah, very spicy.
Sorry for only thinking about the stuff that actually makes sense, guys.
Yeah, we timmied the shit out of that. Yeah. All right. Tome of Midnight, 30 points. Another absolute banger. The Bear of the Tome of Midnight may apply a +1 modifier to any of their casting rolls when attempting to cast spells from the Law of Demonology, Dark Magic, or Necromancy. Lol, it tells you exactly what to do. In addition, they know one more spell chosen in the usual way than is normal for their level of wizardry. However, the bearer can only cast a number of spells equal to their level of wizardry per turn and is subject to the loner special rule. I do not care about any of those downsides. They are not downsides because this guy goes on a peg anyway and is just a level 5. It is fantastic.
They're downsides. Loner with Demonology sucks because Demonology's best spell is a self spell.
I don't think this is a Demonology. I think this is Dark Magic and Necromancy.
But yes, Dark Magic and Necromancy are quite good.
It's only 30 points, dude, for level 5. Wow.
Well, yeah, and then you can take the Wizard Staff. Take Wizard Staff for an additional 35, so now you +1 to the cast, +1 to dispel. Yeah, for 65 points, and you still have space for Armor of Tarnus or something like that.
This feels like a 45 or a 50-point magic item for 30 points. It feels so much gas to this.
It's great. I really love it with Dark Magic. I ran when I was running Knights of More. I initially ran in my first game. I ran Necromancy just to be really fluffy, and then the Banner of More, so you're like terroring people or trying to terror them off the board. My second game, I went with Dark Magic, and it was just infinitely better because +5 for your Battle Frenzy, Battle Lust, I should say, and Word of Pain. Because they can both be cast into combat, or no, Battle Lust can't be, but the Word of Pain can be cast into combat. Battle Lust to set up your combat. It's a really sick combo. And Dark Magic is like normally one of the worst magics to choose because it really only has the 2 good options. But for Knightly Orders, it's like you get the 2 best ones. So
yeah, and then you can take Twin-Tailed Wand and cast one of those twice.
You can't do both, dude. They're not common items. Get out of here. Stop being crazy.
Shush. I'll do what I want.
Stop being
You could spend 15 points and know all 5 spell or all the spells from the lore.
I suppose you could. You could go all the way.
You can always go all the way, Peter.
But you only be able to cast 4 of them.
Yeah, you got 5.
Because of the Tome of Midnight locking
it's 4. It's very unlikely you miss the one you want, right?
Yeah.
There's a 1 in 6 chance you'll miss the one you want.
Yep.
Yeah. Danny, what's the last one?
All right. The very last thing is the Crystal Ball. It's 20 points. Once per turn, you may make your opponent re-roll a single to hit or wound roll made against a friendly character model that is within the command range of the bearer of the Crystal Ball.
I'm
like so close on this one. I feel really good about it, and then I don't, and then
yeah.
It doesn't I get it's a crystal ball, and that's why it's an arcane item. It's because it's a crystal ball. It just I don't know. Like it's
cool to make your Griffin not get monster slayed, I guess.
Yeah. Like it saves you from that killing blow or monster slayer. It's situated. Like there's a lot of these items that are situationally okay to good.
Yeah. If we had a toughness 6 monster instead of a toughness 5 monster, this would be so much better as well. Like if we had a way to because there's too many things that wound us on 2s. There's too many things that wound the characters that we would want this kind of protection on 2s. If we could just make him wound us on 3s or 4s, and then this reroll would go up exponentially in value. In addition, the weapon skill we've got is usually 1 lower than the other Lord equivalents, so they're hitting us on 3s. If we could get him hitting on 4s and make him reroll, it would be so much better. But it's just weird. We're just 1 off on all the breakpoints for making this really good.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the Arcane Journal. What a journal it was. Words were written, words were read. some people were disappointed, mostly disappointed. Peter was very excited because you got to blow me up in 2 games in like 2 turns twice. It was great. But that is the end.
That's pretty brutal.
It was freaking savage. And naturally, I did take lists. We were talking about part 2, but I took lists that were gonna let you do that or not do that, pretty much.
It's true.
But my boys, it's time for us to rank and rate these things. As an Arcane Journal, Danny, what would you give this out of 10? 10 being the best possible Arcane Journal which we could possibly get. Right now, the gold standard being, I believe, the Orc and Goblin Arcane Journal is the gold standard. So that's if we say that's a 10, and then what's the worst Arcane Journal right now? What would be the 1?
I mean, I think the last one we did was
Warriors of Chaos was probably
No.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, yeah, Warriors of Chaos was pretty bad.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't bad. Like,
it was fine. Like, yeah. It's just like one of the armies was like not okay. So let's put it this way: one of the armies I feel like was the cavalry army specifically is I feel like probably about the same power level as the Nuln army.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Knightly Orders army is somehow very far below that. So like, I think this is probably like and I'm not one to give out a harsh thing, but I think they really missed the boat on the Knightly Orders list.
Me too.
It's really sad because that to me is the coolest part about is a very cool part of Empire. And I would have really liked to see that explored other than like maybe some more regional city-state kind of lists. But yeah, I'd say this is a 4 for me.
4 out of 10. Peter, what about yourself?
I think if you'd asked me this 2 weeks ago, I would have given it like a 2 out of 10. I'm up to probably a 4, maybe a 5 because the items are legitimate. Like, there's several really good arcane items in this, but the armies of infamy are not good.
Well, they just seem so. Yeah, they just seem so pigeonholed into one decent archetype that's just either going to get ruffle stomped or do okay. And which means it's just kind of more of the same for Empire. Just even more pigeonholed, but a little bit more extreme on the spectrums. See, I'm with you. I'm like a 3 or a 4 right now. I think there's good stuff you can do, and I'm very excited to try and play a couple different Knightly Orders. I'm very unexcited to play Nuln. It's not how I like to play my games because Nuln is just pretty much a gun line, and it's either a gun line on a horse or a gun line on foot, and just whichever way you go. And the gun line on horse is so much better than the gun line on foot. But that's what they gave us. They gave us the same flavors of every other Arcane Journal. So here is your here's your Dwarven gun line expeditionary force equivalent, and then here's your chariot Tomb King's royal host equivalent, and that's what we got. The difference is we're starting with way worse chassis to work from than those comparative units, and with way less synergy built in, and they didn't give us this extra synergy in this that I think we needed. So 3 or a 4 for me out of 10. The best possible known list, Peter, where do you think that ranks competitively? Bottom tier, mid tier, top tier?
I think the best possible known list. I don't think it's quite top tier. I think it's like upper mid tier. Yeah. Like because you can make a really disgusting known list that if your opponent's not heavy on magic, or like 3 save dragon riders or whatever, they're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
But like there's just a bunch of lists you're just gonna do dick all to. So
agreed. Danny, just off the cuff, the best possible Knightly Orders list, where do you think that is? Bottom, mid, or top tier?
The best possible list is probably middle tier, I would say. Maybe I would say between low and middle.
Yeah,
on the low end of middle is where I would.
I think it's better than that, but like, I see where you're coming from. I just think all those 2+ saves with more is really good.
My only issue, so my issue with we can talk about this more in part 2, but my issue is I've seen a couple of those lists, example lists of that, and I'm just like, I'm just not sure it has enough stuff. I'm just not convinced it has enough stuff that people can't kill one of your bigger units, isolate the rest of the army, and just take a 300-point victory by running away and roadblocking you. And that's my fear. And mind you, there's a lot of general shit that will come down to them playing that well and you letting them play that well. But it's just a fear I have after playing a couple of catalysts myself. All right, and I agree. I think middle to bottom of mid-tier, which, I mean, I've got to say, is probably better than average Empire on both fronts. So the best possible Empire list I have at best being like lower mid-tier right now.
Oh, I think now, though, with this book, your Grand Army probably is like...
Dude, yeah.
Much better.
Yeah, I do. I just think adding war wagons and these like one unit of the Knightly Orders plus these magic rules will make the Grand Army possibly better into an open field, like going to a 5 or 6 game event into an open field, just better than Nuln or Knightly Orders, who will, you know, live and die by which matchups they get.
Sure.
Peter, what do you say to that?
I like Grand Armies just for Empire in particular. The way this was built is always going to be better because you just have so many more options, right?
Yeah.
You can make more of a mixed build. 3 cannons plus a bunch of Knights of the White Wolf is a pretty solid list.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. I just, in terms of what you guys just said, like that, I feel like at least Knights of More for Knightly Orders is a legit list that you have to respect. So,
and on that note, we are done with this part 1. Thank you, guys, and hopefully you've all enjoyed the review. We're going to be dropping this episode. Hopefully, the second pre-orders go up, and so it'll drop just as soon as you guys can get the information. And please come and join us over on part 2. We're going to be unpacking some of the games that Falcon and I have played, in addition to some of the games that Falcon has played. Also, giving you insight into what we've built, what we're enjoying, and these boys might just help me build my white wolf list, my Geralt of Rivia list. Hey, that's pretty good, actually. I'm patenting that. But anyway, thank you so much. Come and join us in our Discord. Many shenanigans to be had. Merry Christmas to you all. If there's anybody in our Discord who is doing it rough this holiday season, I know it can be a little hard on many people who may not have or may not be doing exactly what they'd want to be doing this time of year. You are very welcome to specifically come into my DMs if you need a chat, need someone to hang out with, need to talk some shit. I'm always open and welcome for people around this time of year. Like I said, you may be doing it hard because I've done it hard this time of year myself plenty times. So yeah, reach out if you need, in the Discord especially. And I assume these two boys hate you all and have no time, so don't worry.
If I had time, I'd be more than happy to chat with anyone, honestly.
I will say, like, I'm a single father of 3 kids. I've had some lonely Christmases. I am more than willing to chat with somebody as long as my kids are asleep. So that's the only caveat I have to give you.
Whereas I'm unencumbered. I just have a partner and some family stuff to do for Christmas lunch. Apart from that, hit me up if you need to chat. Always here and always willing. All right, boys, love you both. Merry Christmas to you all. Take care and look after each other.
Goodbye, babies.
You've been listening to That Old World Charm with those charming chaps, Adam, Danny, and Peter the Falcon. Thanks ever so much. Cheerio.